Good.
But yes, so, man, it's been 5 years. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I actually first started doing Retropalooza and starting doing YouTube and whatnot too. So, alright, so real quick, we'll get started. So here's how basically my panels kind of go. Normally whenever I do panels and whatnot, I'll introduce myself, talk about the channel, do a Q&A, we'll do a trivia session and whatnot. Retropalooza though, because this is really the beginning of my journey. It really all started with Retropalooza. So I like to treat my Retropalooza panel audiences to something special. So what we're going to do is, I did it last year, well not last year at Houston, but the year before that. I did it at Houston, I did it in Arlington last year, I'm going to do it again for y'all. So that's a special treat for y'all. Y'all are going to get to witness a live episode of my 3 gaming items I'm proud to own series on YouTube. How's that sound? Let's get started. So first of all, for those of y'all who are new, quick introduction to myself. I'm G. Hi, how you doing? Also known as G to the next level. Also go by George. We've got several different names. You can call me that weirdo that talks about Sonic on the internet. I'm fine with that too. But yes, so I've been doing content creation just as a whole for about 5 years. I started off doing YouTube, and G to the next level wasn't really a thing until like maybe 4 years ago after I really got started. When I first started doing YouTube at the very beginning, with my buddy Tyler who's also a guest here at Retropalooza, we used to pair up on this old channel called iRetroGamer, where 5 years ago, Retropalooza Houston, I went to his panel, and we just started chatting. Well, 6 years ago, excuse me. This is his testament, my fifth. And he was like, you know what? Here's the thing. I started talking to him about, hey, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but I'm not really sure where to go and how to get started. And he's like, well, hey, how about you just jump on the set with me? We'll just talk about games. We started talking about Ghostbusters 2 on the NES. Like, I started talking about that. We had a wonderful time. His channel started growing. The feedback and everybody was so wonderful and so supportive. So I started working with him for roughly about a year until I decided to make my own channel. And what was interesting was that I couldn't really think of a name beforehand, and we both just started talking. And I was like, okay, what really speaks to me? The Sega, but not completely fully Sega, because I'm not 100% Sega focused, only like 95%. But and I was like, well, what's something that really speaks out? It's like, well, what's your favorite kind of phrase or thing that handles something for Sega? It's like, welcome to the next level. Like, okay, well, and you go by G, right? Like, yeah. So yeah, welcome to the next level, you're G. You bring people to the next level. G to the next level was born. And so, yeah, 5 years later, still doing good stuff on YouTube. I recently have started, there's one thing that has happened since I wasn't at Houston last year. One thing y'all might not know about now is that in addition to YouTube, I'm also doing 2 new things as well. So since now I'm currently doing content creating full-time, so this is my full-time gig now. So I'm basically putting everything all in the eggs of that. But in top of working on YouTube videos, I'm also now live streaming on Twitch too. So, and people ask me too, like, why do Twitch versus just doing streaming on YouTube too? Is because the audiences, while both are wonderful, it's both a separate feel and a separate unique audience between both of them. And I love them both dearly. Big shout to those of y'all in the Twitch chat right now.
They're in there right now.
Yeah, they're in there right now. We're actually live on Twitch right now.
You can say hi to Stay Loafin, Kale Arts, and Autumn.
What up, y'all? How are y'all? Good to see you. Good to see you. Just like we do on Twitch. So on Twitch now, granted, it's been such a wonderful adoption too, because not only has it just been awesome with the community, but got me a chance to play a lot of games I haven't gotten a chance to play in the past. Got a chance to interact with people, share childhood memories, just like on YouTube, but on live, you know? And so, in addition to doing that, I now do that 4 days a week. I've got themed days where every Sunday I play Shining Force games. So if you're a fan of Shining Force, just want to chill. I actually am going to be streaming after the con tonight. Mondays I either do Monster Hunter or like Mascot Mania, or basically I'll play like mascot platformers like Sonic and a few others. I play those on Mondays. Tuesdays I actually do viewer requests, where if people watching use their channel points, they can actually request Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo games, and coming soon others, for me to stream on Tuesdays for that. And on Thursdays, right now, I normally do like more modern-ish style games, or retro-inspired games, indie games, or modern games that star retro characters. I can tell you one game that I'm kind of sort of obsessed with right now, and that's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I've actually been playing that on Thursdays. I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams that I've gotten so into that game as much as possible. Yeah, it's awesome. It is an awesome game. And then on Fridays, when I do stream on Fridays, I do community games. So I'll do like Mario Party, Saturday, Super Bomberman, but mostly Splatoon 2, another game that has just hit me hard how much I love this game. And I play with everybody. It's a wonderful experience. It's just like in the moment to be able to chat and play and hang out with everybody. So it satiates a whole other different itch. So like with YouTube, I love sharing my memories and I love making the videos and the craft and everything and the feedback that comes with that. So it's like the two halves of my gaming heart are filled with that. But there's a third one. And this is the really interesting one that a lot of y'all might not know about. On top of that, I'm writing a book. So, yeah, I'm writing a book now too. So, what is the book? The book is called Growing Up Genesis. And what it is obviously it's going to be about the Sega Genesis. So, you know, it's my favorite system of all time, and I've loved it ever since 1991, Christmas 1991, the holiday that I got the Sega Genesis. And I'm worried about what my wife is laughing about my Twitch chat.
You almost have a high grade.
Oh my goodness, wow. Thank y'all, thank you. But yeah, so what it is that it's essentially starting off with like my childhood memories and why I love the Sega Genesis so much, why it's my favorite console of all time. There's also going to be interviews with various other people. I can't disclose them just yet, but I'm working on it. And then I'm going to talk about console variations. And we're going to be talking a little bit about imports, but at its core, it's meant to be more of a coffee table style book with bite-sized reviews for the entire North American US collection. So for the entire US collection, all of the games are going to have at least a little tiny bit of segment to it. Now, they're not going to have like super long details like some of the other Chronicle books out there. It's meant to be something to have like just a little bite-size and a little taste of what this game is and what my personal rating is on it, right? Because going back to Twitch, one of the other things that I actually do on Twitch is a special channel point goal that I only do on Tuesdays, where you pick a Genesis game from a curated list for me to review. I chronicle all those. Many of them are going to start showing up as YouTube Shorts and TikToks very soon. Another thing I'm getting into. And but all that helps the book, because I have every single one of those. So all that is helping to write the book, and it's just incredible. I don't have a projected date or anything like that for it because this takes time. It's something that's kind of the smaller end of the 3-point scale that I'm just like, well, it will happen when it happens. And it's just something that I'm just very, 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 very excited about. So, but yeah, that's kind of where things are at. So, for those with, going back to YouTube. So what do I do mainly on YouTube? This is normally where I would actually show a video or something like that. But since I decided to do something special for y'all, I'll let y'all know. So I don't just do reviews, I don't just do canon stuff, I do a little bit of everything. So I have a series called Level 10, which is basically my basic list, where a video series where it's like 10 of my favorite things, like some of the best ones I ever done, or some of my favorite ones I ever did, or like my 10 favorite controllers of all time, one I did about Sonic games that you may have skipped, games that should have been on the Sega Genesis collection. I've had a lot of demand for this, and so I'm doing it. I'm a little scared, not gonna lie. But I'm doing it. I'm actually doing a special Level 10 series where it's going to be my 20 best and worst Sega Genesis games. Yeah, a lot of people have asked me for this one, and I'm just like, so it's one of those things I'm just like, I know this seems like it's a little bit simple, but it's something that people really want to see. It's like, if you really want to see, and I'm down for doing it, like, let's do it, you know? But that series has always been something that I've loved too. Consultation, which is another series where I take like modern style retro systems and give them a good thorough unboxing, and then talk about the goodies inside, and then test and determine whether or not if it's worth it, right? I've done one on the arcade one up, I did one on the Retro Freak, I've done a couple of others on those. A few that I've actually got in the pipeline right now. One is a little bit different, because I actually got the system on loan from a buddy of mine. It's about the Atari VCS. So I was like, yeah, this one's a little bit curious, but yes, that's still one of my series. Of course, the 3 gaming items I'm proud to own, which y'all are going to be, y'all get a chance to see that live. And the treasure chest. So, I decided to bring this series back. So what the treasure chest is it's a series where I take one game out of my collection, and it's a full-on game review. And I decided to bring that one back because there are several different games that I still haven't gotten a chance to touch yet. Like, say, perfect example, I'll give you a little sneak peek on one that I actually am going to be working on pretty soon. Home Improvement for the Super NES. It's dual time. Yeah, it's one that, like, after talking with a couple of people, and I have the game, I have it complete in box, and there's a couple of unique things about that unique box, and I have a little bit of a childhood story to add on top of it too. So it's all about like sharing those wonderful retro memories that I'm all about. It's what makes me smile. That's what makes me love doing this. You know, so, but that's basically the biggest thing about those. Those are the ones that are still here. Now, what's new? Because there are going to be some new things that are coming into YouTube very, very, very soon. One of which I have been working on for a couple months. I'm very, very excited to share with you. It's, you know, I've got my level 10 list series, right? Well, there's another series that I've actually got called From Gutter to Forever. And it essentially is a full-scale ranking series. The one that I'm actually working on right now, which actually got a little bit of extra history behind it, is on the Sega 32X. I'm actually going to be taking on every single game in the Sega 32X library, North America, and some imports. It's basically taking on saying what's the best, what's the worst, what's all in between, and so that way you have a one-stop shop in terms of like, okay, well, is this game worth playing? Is this one not? So that way you can just take a look at it and say, what's the best, what's the worst? You know, and then just have fun with that, right? Got a couple of other really good ones in the pipeline for that too. So, Mascot Mania, which is one I talked about at Arlington. It had a little bit of a slow start, but I am circling back to it, where it's essentially a series about mascot characters. So like say, you know, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, and whatnot, but some of the more unsung names in that. So the debut episode is still slated to be Awesome Possum. Yeah, so there's actually a lot more positive than you might think. That's the funny thing about it. So, and other things too, one other one that I'm actually pretty excited about too, is something that it's tentatively, this might not be the final name on it, but it's tentatively called Sonic Sessions. And this is where Sonic the Hedgehog comes into play. So like Sonic Sessions where, a while back I actually did an interview for, and I asked about a couple of questions about how I feel about Sonic, how did I get started with it, why has it become so critical and so important. But then I decided, you know what, I don't want to be the only one doing this. Like, I don't want it to be just about me talking about every single one of these characters. So I reached out to a couple of people, and it's basically going to be, I've already done one on Tails, and I've got one that works for Knuckles, one that works for Shadow, one that works for Silver. Hopefully one that works for Dr. Eggman, including somebody that I really, really hope will be a part of that. How you doing? How you feeling? Like if somebody I hope will actually be a part of that, but that, hopefully I'll have that started roughly about September. So that's kind of the plan for that. But yeah, that's essentially what I do. That's what I do. Like on top of a few other things, including my awesome and wonderful wife, Ranchan Does Things, who is also a streamer, by the way. But yeah, and we've just been kind of rolling with it. And I'm very thrilled to be back here at Retropalooza. Like I said, it's my home, I'm loyal, and I'm very happy to see all of y'all here today. So yeah. Alright, but that's me. I've missed that, and I've missed y'all. G for go. How am I doing on time?
You are at 2:20, you have 40 minutes.
Perfect.
Autumn, Dark Shadow, and Puyaka all want me to say hi to you.
Hello! How are y'all?
Also, they are all spamming Sonic Dab emotes, and now they have learned that they can do exclamation point chant.
Oh, they got to see. This is why y'all should be watching me on Twitch. You do hard stuff like this.
It's open the whole time.
It's easy. All you do is just jump in and watch and chat. It's easy. It's easy. But yeah, no, this is how I hype my Twitch chats. No, it's freaking awesome.
It's been hyped their whole time.
Yep.
They didn't know you were writing a book. They're excited.
Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah.
It's some of the newer people.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, that's just kind of me in a nutshell. So, all right, that being said, so what we're going to do for the rest is that we are going to have a Q&A and we are going to have a trivia. But before that, so like I said, one of the series that I do on YouTube, and I'm just going to flat out say it, it's my favorite series to do on YouTube. And it's 3 gaming items I'm proud to own, where basically I pick 3 items in my collection, or in this case, it might actually be more than 3. But, and I talk about the history behind them. So, y'all ready for this?
Yay!
Here's the very Where's my DJ? My DJ left me. Okay.
The retro count says Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. What's up, Retro Count? I wish he was here. Alright, so, first item we are going to talk about, here we go. Let me grab it, and we will take care of this. Okay, so, first item we're going to talk about today. So earlier, at the very beginning of the convention, something incredible happened, right? So, who here is familiar with the awesome OK Chief? You! Yeah, so, big ups, huge love, and huge shout out to my buddy OK Chief, because he brought something with him here to this convention that I didn't bring with me today, but I'm actually going to pop in the video right here once I pop this on YouTube. So what happened was at the beginning of the convention, he brought a whole bunch of Master System games, And imports, Master System imports, stuff that's really, really hard to find. But one of them behind the glass case is a game that I've been looking for 20 years. And I made some things happen, I sold some things, did some trades, worked my way up to it, and I now have a complete box copy of Sonic Blast on the Master System. Wow. Tech Toy import. So I know the last time that I did the Gaming Items I'm Proud to Own episode, I did talk about Tech Toy a little bit with y'all. So what I decided to do is I decided to bring one more, and just to kind of show y'all, because this isn't the first time that I've actually gotten the Master System Tech Toy game from Retropalooza. And there's a story behind it. So here's a couple of others, just to kind of show. These were only released in Brazil. So this is Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, which was a port that was for the Master System that technically is not finished, but they did manage to release it on the Master System. So that's one. Virtual Fighter Animation, which is a part of the Game Gear game. Again, another one that was only in Brazil. But the biggest one. So the story behind this one is that I actually got it at Retropalooza Arlington. There was a guy who actually had an entire box. This was the first time I went to Retropalooza Arlington. Yes, it was the first time I went to Retropalooza Arlington, and they had a box full of Master System stuff. And I was like, oh, there was a few things that I couldn't really get, and I didn't really know. He had a game that I had no idea existed, and I had to look it up there on the spot just to make sure that it was real. And I was like, this is real, and this is blowing my mind, and it is wild. So, Street Fighter 2 on the Master System. So, if y'all have never seen this, so Street Fighter 2, of course, like made its first appearance home on the Super Nintendo and then later on the Sega Genesis, right? But the thing about the Master System version is that it is officially licensed by Capcom, officially licensed by Sega, and by Tech Toy. And it's wild beyond your wildest nightmares on this game, believe it or not. It looks fantastic, like from a color standpoint and the way that the characters look, and how they actually even animate for a Master System game. It's an 8 mega game, and which is huge for Master System. It even has digitized voice in it. Digitized voice is pretty clear, believe it or not. But like I said, when I saw that on the spot, I went wild because it's like, there's no way this is real. Like, there's no way this is real. And I looked up and it's like, yeah, it's real. So I spent literally, because I asked the guy, I was like, I can't buy it right now. Could you possibly hold it for me? And it's the first time that I actually really asked and really worked my way, like what I had to sell and to trade, and I went to like from booth to booth to see what I could sell off, so that way I can earn up enough to get Street Fighter 2, right? And throughout the entire weekend, it just really came down to it, and I met up with the guys like, hey, you ready to do this? Yeah, let's do this. And so we got it. It's complete. It's got like the full registration card. It's got the Brazilian poster for Tech Toy. And actually, I wanted to show you all this too, because this is also kind of nuts as well. Because this little guy here, check this out. Because if there's one thing that's always been fascinating to me about the Master System, is that how many games came out worldwide that we did not get. I can almost guarantee you, about half the games that showed up on this poster did not get released worldwide, which is crazy. But then you look on the back of it, and I look at the poster, and I look on the back of it, and I was like, oh. Yeah! Mortal Kombat 2, which also came out on the Master System over there. And it's like, and that's nuts. And Mortal Kombat 3 came out on the Master System too. But yeah, so that would really mark the first time that I can think. Because this was before YouTube. This was before, like, really all of that. So this is the first time really that I've worked my way up to really get something. You know, like to where either working through trades or working through sales. So what happened this weekend with the OK Chief and the Sonic, I'm about to call it Sonic Chaos, Sonic Blast, reminded me a lot about my experience of trying to get this game. So this is actually probably one of the first real scale times of working my way up to get something. So it holds a special place in my heart. And that's one thing I always want to tell people. I talked about this at the Houston Arcade and Pinball Expo. One thing is that, hey, always leave your mind open when you're hunting around, when you're shopping, and when you're looking for games and whatnot. Not always, I mean, sometimes you gotta draw your line somewhere, but be open to trades more often than anything, because you never know what you're gonna find. You never know what you might find out there. You might find a gem, you don't even know it. Or a really terrible rendition of Street Fighter 2 that's just really unique and fascinating. But it's still really cool. So, yeah. Alright, there's item number 1. So,
quick introduction from the Twitch chat. You've been gifted 3 subs by Stay Loafin to Artist GB, Sirius, and Velcro.
There you go. You guys get this sub. Congratulations. Nice.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Alright, so it's time to talk about Sonic. So item number 2. So who here has read the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic yet? Anybody? Nobody? You should. You absolutely should. So the new IDW comic kind of took Sonic in a different sort of direction, right? And I was so hyped and excited for this that one of the things I wanted to do, because I'm not really all that huge into comic collecting, right? It's like really outside of Sonic. I was just like, okay. But then I realized, and Ranjan actually, she's a lot more familiar with it than I am, so I wasn't really familiar with how, like, when the comic is released, how many variants and how many chases and how many, what's the blank one called, by the way? Like when they actually come with like a blank one?
Those are the artist variants.
Artist variants, okay. I knew there was a name for it, so. So what I wanted to bring on this now, this is actually kind of a collection, so I'm cheating my own rules just a little bit. So this is basically a collection. I was determined to own as many copies of the original IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic. And the more that you look into it, it's actually kind of wild how many variants of this comic there is. But one of them in here is extremely special to me. So I'll go through them like real quick. So this is the original comic, or this is one of them. This is Rev A, or cover A. Rev A, I'm thinking Sega Genesis games. This is cover A, and then cover B, which are the main ones that you actually got in the stores, right?
Common variants.
It's like, these are basically the common variants. So you got those in the stores. And here's where it started getting a little bit wild. I'll just take a little while, actually. Those are the original Archie ones. So, and then there's this RIA cover, which each one of them, I mean, it's all the same comic. But I wanted to get every single one as much as I possibly could, whether they were from conventions, whether they were online, or through trading and whatnot. This is cover number RIB, which is cool. The RIC cover, which this one was actually very rare. It's like, what, 1 out of 50 and then 1 out of 100 or something like that?
Something like that. A store would have to order 50 copies or 100 copies, and then they would get one of those for every 50 or 100 they got.
Right. So you might get lucky and you might find one, or you might not. But I was able to grab one of these. This was one of the other strange ones that got re-released as well. So, without the back cover, which is kind of strange in that. This one actually came as a promo. This one actually came as a promo with the board game, with the Sonic Crash Course board game, which if you watch my YouTube channel, there actually is a review and a playthrough of the Sonic Crash Course board game on there too. Big ups to Jamie Play Stuff, thank you for doing all of that. Several play. The Halloween Comic Fest one, this one I actually got online. I actually didn't get this one in the stores because I didn't know about this one until like way later on. This one, the Spencer's comic, which I believe which you actually got the comic for free when you bought one of the Sonic shirts, and I believe there's somebody in the audience who actually won that shirt. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Brian. Who actually won the shirt that this comic came with. This one here, Devin Kraft, who actually was the artist who did this, he came to Retropalooza a couple of years ago. He actually did this comic. Unfortunately, I wish I had had him sign it, but he has not. And then a couple of the other smaller covers. This is one of the convention variants. This one is a California convention variant. And then the last few, which are just slight variations of one of the other ones. But these are not the bread and butter. This is the one that means the world to me. So later on this year, I'm actually going to be attending a convention called Sonic and Sega Fan Jam. And a couple of years ago, I wanted to go to Sonic and Sega Fan Jam for so many years, and I never gotten the opportunity to, right? It's basically just a meetup for Sega fans, Sonic fans, and everybody in between, right? And they're coming back this year. But, so the one year that I did get a chance to go, it's in Georgia. So I flew out there, and I got a hotel and all that kind of stuff. And I actually got a chance to meet Tyson Hess. So you know who Tyson Hess is. He's one of the main artists of Sonic. And Tyson Hess and Tracy Yardley. Like, I got a chance to meet both of them. And they were both, like, absolutely incredible. But Tyson Hess, however, I didn't even realize that he was actually doing, like, sketches and whatnot. I was expecting that he would actually do something, like, kind of small, because I had one of the artist variants, right? It's like, I had one of the artist variants, and I was like, well, hey, when I met him, it's like, hey, you're awesome, I love your art, and it's like, you're amazing, and we talked a little bit about what I do and whatnot, and then he's like, well, hey, you have something for me to draw? Sure. I gave him the comic, and he's like, all right, come back and see me in about 5 minutes or so, and I've got something special for you. It's like, okay, cool. The man did this in 5 minutes. And I was just like, I told him, dude, you didn't have to do like all that. He's like, well, no, seriously. He's like, considering like how passionate you are, like how much you love Sonic and whatnot. It's just like, this really is the least that I could do. Didn't even charge me or anything like that for it. He was a sweetheart. Like, he was an absolute sweetheart. So, yeah, actually, yeah, definitely. This is what I probably should have done, show it to the chat. But yes, so big ups to Tyson Hess. And the thing is that one whole weekend was just absolutely incredible. But I was just not expecting that. And this is something that now, this is the reason why I have all of these in this case because of that. And yeah, so once again, big ups to the guys at that convention and Tyson Hess. There you go. I love it. It's wonderful. And those of all who are just huge Sonic fans, if you have not gotten the chance to read the comic, read the comic. It's amazing. To me, it's like the way that they expanded the world on it is just, it's awesome. And I really hope that many of the other characters and whatnot will make their way to either the games or some media in some way, shape, or form. Because especially with the Sonic the Sonic movie and everything becoming so huge and whatnot, I would love to see some of those other characters. The possibilities are endless, right? So it's like I would love to see like some of those other characters, like Tangle, Whisper, and the Doctor, and whatnot, make their way into some form of media, maybe possible. All right, so okay, so the last item again is another kind of collection because it starts with a game, but it actually goes into a whole other collection. So. Let me tell you a little bit about what's been happening the last couple of weeks with me. So, I've been in a bit of a 90s cartoon rabbit hole. And whether it be talking about stuff that came with like the Kids WB or stuff that I grew up with watching. And there was one series in particular that I have absolutely loved and adored. And for some reason or another, I was only able to watch the series. I didn't know that there was so much other merch available that just completely slipped my mind. Who here are fans of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon SWAT Cats? Anybody? Yeah, SWAT Cats. Incredible cartoon. Absolutely incredible cartoon, basically about two garage worker guys that basically are, by day, but by night, they fly like a stealth jet and basically save them, Catropolis, right? Or whatever the name of the city is called. Of course, they're in the same vein of like something like Batman, or some of the authorities like, are they friend or are they foe? But the show was so unique, it was so edgy, and the character designs were wonderful and incredible. The animation was awesome, the music was awesome, everything about it. Allegedly, I mean, don't quote me on this, but like allegedly, it only lasted 2 seasons. It didn't make it past that point because it was, quote, too violent, unfortunately. And that was really what the case was. But if there was one thing that, like, as a Sega kid growing up, you look at like some of the games that came out for the Super Nintendo that I was like super jealous that I couldn't have. Like, probably some of the biggest ones would be like Star Fox, Donkey Kong Country. Like those are the biggest ones, right? But I think there wasn't really one that hit me nearly as hard that I couldn't get was the fact that there was a SWAT Cats game for the Super Nintendo. And I was just like, this game exists and I wanted it so badly. And unfortunately, it's not an easy one to find. It's one that even finding one loose. Normally, I remember like for the longest time, the game eluded me because I couldn't find one that was actually in either good shape or complete or anything like that. The labels were normally like ravaged or they wanted too much or something like that. But there's a gentleman, he's out here on the floor right now. I'm about to embarrass him. His name is AC Jr. He runs a shop here called Rare and Classic Games. I'm gonna give him a quick plug. We're Rare and Classic Games. He made a post. So this is going to be another one of those cases where I'm just like, hey, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this in my hands right now. And there it is. Another 20-year quest complete. Because it was just like, and here's, again, this is another kind of honest thing about it. I need to go back and play this game. I haven't played it in so long, since like the early days of being able to like find and play Super Nintendo games on your computer, right? So I have not gotten a chance to play this game in a long time, but just the sheer fact that somebody like me who is a huge fan of this cartoon, it's in beautiful shape, it is complete, and yeah, Junior was able to work with me on it. I brought some stuff to trade, no cash changed hands. It was freaking awesome and amazing. But so as an added bonus, so it's like that's really where kind of the story ends up, right? But knowing me, whenever I get into something like this, I go into a rabbit hole, and sometimes dangerous stuff comes out of that rabbit hole, right? I decided to fulfill what I couldn't do when I was a kid, right? Here we go. Those of y'all that don't know, there were SWAT Cats figures. There were. There's T-Bone. There's my man and T-Bone. So almost all of them are carded, right? They're not going to stay up, so I'll just leave them like this. But yeah, there's T-Bone. Yep, there's Dr. Viper. So, because I was like, I had to get each one of these because, again, this was something that I couldn't get when I was a kid. I don't even remember them being in stores or anything like that when I was a kid, right? I knew they existed, but I could never actually find them. Yep, there's Dark Cat. And it's interesting, apparently there's like 2 different variants of him. Like there's one that has like a plastic cape and one that has a cloth cape. So apparently I got the rare one, I think, from what I heard. But this is the interesting one, because I couldn't find Razor, right? It was my favorite character. Like I could not find Razor like to save my life. So here's what happened. This is an import, and this is official. Like this actually is an official import. Unfortunately, he is missing his bow. He does come with a bow, but this is an official import of Razor. And I was like, this is freaking amazing that I had to get all these through and all of them complete because, like, again, this is something that I know that I probably shouldn't have done because of certain other things that were happening. But this is one of those moments that, oh, by the way, DVD set. And one of the VHS tapes. And I know there's, I think there's 4. I think it's 4 different VHS tapes. But yes, going into that rabbit hole, I was just like, I have to keep going because if there's one thing that actually I kind of kicked myself. Into that. And then I'm also going to give another thanks to my buddy Kingsley, aka that boy Kingsley. I actually want to give a big ups to him because a couple of years ago in 2016, there was another convention that actually SWAT Cat, the team behind SWAT Cats are actually kind of pushing their Kickstarter, which unfortunately failed, like for a SWAT Cats revival. And so he managed to hook me up with the card for it. So it's basically like the art card for it. It's awesome. And it's awesome and amazing. And I would love to basically frame this in some way, shape, or form. And then he also hooked me up with a promotional T-shirt. So it's one of the only some of the Kickstarters actually got this promotional T-shirt for it. So I'm still hoping. They say that the dream is not dead for the SWAT Cats revival. They say that the dream is not dead, but I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that maybe they'll get a chance to be able to make it happen again. But there's one thing I'm kind of alluding onto that too. So going back into that 90s cartoon rabbit hole, don't be surprised if you might see some content on my channel surrounding that in some way, shape, or form, especially around SWAT Cats and a few other cartoons that I love dearly. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. It all comes down to another, just like the Sonic Blast from this weekend, another 20+ year complete. And it's a wonderful feeling of like when you're searching for something for so long, you finally have it as part of your collection. And so, big thanks to Junior and everybody for that. If you see him at the convention, tell him G sent you. Give him a pat on the back. Just like this was awesome and amazing. So huge thank you for that. And to those of y'all that are want to rekindle those times from your childhood, it's one way to do it. Awesome. Yeah, thank y'all for joining me in this and one of the 3 gaming diamonds I'm proud to own. This is definitely not going to be the last one. I've got a couple more in the pipeline I'm going to be recording hopefully pretty soon. But yes, so that being said, what time do we got now?
You got about 18 minutes.
Perfect. Okay. So I guess now we'll open it up. I'll go ahead and clean these guys up a little bit, and we'll open it up to a bit of Q&A. So here's what I'll do. I will do 3 questions here. Oh, like I'll do 3 questions here from y'all, from everybody here in the audience, and then I'll ask one for the Twitch crowd, for everybody who's watching live in the chat, and they ask a question, and we'll go from there. So if anybody's got any questions, let me know. Yeah, what's up? So you can talk about Sonic 2. Yeah, so they asked, so have I watched the Sonic 2 movie and what was my favorite thing about it? So I'll talk about something that, because I know some people still haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to try not to spoil it because my favorite moment of the movie could be a potential really big spoiler. But I will probably say, I'll talk to you about it after I go live. But probably one of my favorite moments of that entire film was just the fight sequence, like right at the temple before, because I'm sure we all know that Dr. Robotnik does get the emerald, close to the end, right? It's that scene between Knuckles and Sonic that they're fighting, and just the way that it is done. If there's one thing that I love about the Sonic movies, and especially the second one, like I love is that how well they've portrayed basically what the video game would be in a live action form. The first one set it up, the second one knocked the pins down, and they really did. That fight sequence really just reminded me of that Sky Sanctuary stage in Sonic 3, where you fight Knuckles, and he's like dashing towards you, and Sonic like spinballs and tackles him down. The whole sequence is just so wonderfully done. Like I literally, and Bronchon was there right next to me. I was literally like at the edge of my seat going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like, this is awesome, you know? And it was, like that probably was my favorite moment of the movie, but I'll probably have to talk with you like off after the panel because you've seen it. I don't want to spoil it for everybody else, but I'll talk to you about it. My real favorite moment later. All right, yes sir.
What did you end up trading for that SWAT Cats game?
So he was asking what did I end up trading for that SWAT Cats. If I remember well, I actually had some loose N64 games. I actually wanted trading. I believe that was when I had. It wasn't Ocarina. I believe it was Majora's Mask. I had like Majora's Mask and a couple of like really high dollar loose N64 games. I know I had. Was that when I traded Demon's Crest? I think that is when I traded Demon's Crest as well. Because I had a complete box. Yes, it was. Because I had a complete box of Demon's Crest. I actually traded on top of that along with it, and it was almost just like an even point for point trade. So more often than not, because I know a lot of people ask you, just like, well, hey, did you part with any Sega stuff for that? Most of the time, like whenever I'm trading or selling stuff, it's mostly Nintendo. If it's anything Sega, it's going to be like a duplicate or something like that. But yeah, it was basically that stuff that he could easily like sell in the store. But the Demon's Crest was for him, so definitely made him happy. All right, next question.
So do you prefer the Disney games on Sega or the ones by Capcom on the Nintendo one?
Ooh, tough question. Okay, so Ryan asked, do I prefer the Disney games, like the classic retro Disney games from Sega or from Capcom? Love you, Sega? The answer is Capcom. It easily is Capcom because if you really look at each one of them, which, Brian, you read my mind, because I'm actually working on a Gutter to Throne about all Capcom's Disney games. I actually am working on that. Because if you look at the Capcom, even just the NES games, like you're looking at like Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, DuckTales 1 and 2, Tailspin, which I love, and I know a lot of people hate, but I love it. I'm just like, hey, word of advice, give Tailspin a chance, beat the first level, upgrade your rapid fire shot, and you will love the game after that. Like the first stage is rough, but once you get past that, you will love the game after that. Darkwing Duck, which is awesome too, and Disney's Adventures in Magic Kingdom, Mickey Mouse Capade. When you think about all those, like I even like Mickey Mouse Capade. You know, I thought it was a fine game. It's hard, but it's a very fine game. And then on the Super NES, you got Bonkers and Goof Troop, which I still have not played Bonkers, and Aladdin, of course, which
Magical Quest?
Magical Quest, yeah, the Magical Quest games, yes, they're all very, very, very good. I know this question is going to get asked, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it now. Aladdin, Super NES or Genesis? Super NES. It really is. I love the Genesis game, don't get me wrong, they're both outstanding games. The Super NES one is just so much more polished. You know, I didn't even realize this mic was on this entire time. But yeah, so absolutely. I mean, not to dog the Sega Disney games, because like the Sega Disney games, they're still very, very good. I mean, there's a handful of them that I didn't care for. Like I didn't care for Tailspin, Ariel the Little Mermaid wasn't all that great. Oh, Little Mermaid NES. Never played it. Go play it. This seriously is one of my favorite NES games. Like hands down, I love the Little Mermaid game. It's awesome. And then of course Fantasia, which is. But then you could look at like the big gems, like going into Aladdin, and because I mean Aladdin is Capcom, but well yeah, I guess Aladdin counts because Sega published a longer version, so I guess it counts. But then you look at like say Quackshot and Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, Land of Illusion on the Master System, The Legend of Illusion, like they're just awesome games, awesome games. But I think at the end Capcom gets the edge, they definitely do. All right, so Twitch chat.
Right, just one?
Just one. You pick. It's up to you.
Right. Side note, Autumn wants you to know that they're proud of you.
Aw, thank you, Autumn.
But the best question I saw, because there's been quite a few, they're going crazy. Your favorite all-time buy or pickup at a convention?
Favorite all-time buy or pickup at a convention? Man. Dang. I mean, this year is, I mean, I know it's fresh on the brain, but like just as something that's a 20-year quest to be completed, it might be that. Man, that's a tough one. Actually, it's a really, really tough one.
I have other questions if you want to, that's by Deborah's Mead.
Oh, okay. Right now I'm going to actually say that Sonic Blast is pretty high up there. As far as like what I got at a convention, yeah, that's probably pretty high up there. Either that or, you want to know what? I'm actually going to toss away, because you didn't say video games. You said favorite buy or pick up for a convention. So I'll probably say one of my favorite ones was at San Japan, an anime convention in San Antonio. We were at a swap meet, and we were just basically trading and swapping stuff, and Ranchan here actually did the swap for me. Like, I didn't even realize what she was doing. And she came back with this wall scroll of Tenchi Muyo, which is my favorite anime of all time, and I flipped out. I was like, ooh! It was like, fine, it was awesome and amazing. I'll post a picture of it here on YouTube for y'all to see it. But yeah, that just blew my mind that she got that. And literally, right after that, like 3 or 4 people like came up to our area in it, and it was like, what do you want for that? What do you want for that? It's like, this is mine. That's mine, y'all. Okay, that's mine.
Fun part about that, when I saw it, when they pulled it out, I leapt over our stuff and ran across the room
Yep.
to go get it.
Yep.
I was like, what would you like? And they were like, can we have 2 of those wigs? And there were wigs I bought on clearance after Halloween at Kroger for $2 a piece.
See,
And
again.
I just brushed out.
Yep. See, and then right back to what I was saying earlier, keeping your mind open for trades. You never know what people will want. Two wigs that you bought from a Kroger, and then we got a wall scroll that's on my wall today. It's one of my favorite things in my entire collection. So you never know. All right. Anybody else got a question?
Do you think Knuckles Sackler was good?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, sorry for throwing that mic. Yeah, Idris Elba. So he was asking what are my thoughts about Idris Elba as Knuckles in the Sonic movie. He nailed it. Like, I knew he was going to do a good job, but I didn't even realize he was going to do that incredible job, you know. Now, I know that he's supposed to be part of the upcoming series, like the Knuckles series that they're working on for Paramount Plus. I know he's supposed to be a part of that, but that's literally all we know about it right now. And it's in production, and that's literally what I'm excited. Because, yeah, he did a wonderful job.
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. We can take a couple more. We'll do like one more round, everybody. Yeah, what's up?
If you were to wake up in the morning, what would be the first Sonic theme that would be playing? What background music would you do for that?
Okay, so Lo-Fi in the chat asks, in the chat. he's here right now.
He's also in the chat.
Oh, gotcha. He asks, if I were to wake up in the morning, what would be the Sonic theme to play in my head as soon as I wake up in the morning? Probably Hilltop Zone. To be honest, I'd probably, you know, from Sonic 2. That's probably the one that would wake up in my head, because it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, get ready and start the day. It's more of like, huh, what's happening? Oh, I guess I'm awake now. All right, let's do this. That's kind of what my mornings are more like, though. But you know, it's just that like, you know, and then the more that the song goes, and just catchy and jingling and whatnot, but it really gets stuck in your head after a while. So, but I think that probably fits me more out of anything. You're probably expecting something like Chemical Plant or whatnot, though.
K-Arts wants chemicals up.
Yeah. It's like, nah. For me, Hilltop. All right, let's do 2 more. Anybody else? Yeah, what's up?
What's your reaction to Ugly Sonic coming back?
Oh, okay. So he's asking, what was my reaction to Ugly Sonic coming back? Well, I mean, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, like, so in reference to that, so for those of y'all who don't know, in Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, I still have not seen the live-action hybrid. Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. I still have not seen it yet, so I don't have a comment as far as like how the movie actually is. But it was pretty well known. It was all over the internet that Ugly Sonic, aka the original Sonic design from the movie before he got redesigned, makes an appearance in the movie, and apparently he has some prominence in it too. Like, it's not just a cameo, like something else happened. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what happens. But so what was my first initial reaction? It was like, oh Lord, not this again. Like, that literally was my first reaction. I was like, oh, not this again. But then the more that I think about it, because like I didn't even know that the Chip 'n Dale's movie was basically like, it's an uncanny valley. Like, essentially it's an uncanny valley, like it really like rips into itself, and the more and more that I learned about the film, the more I wanted to see it. So even though my initial reaction may have been, oh God, why? Now I'm just kind of like, I'm intrigued, go on.
From what I can tell, it's kind of like a modern rendition of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm kind of for that. I'm kind of for that. So, yeah, I mean, initial reaction might not have been great, but I actually really want to see the movie now. So, Yeah, ask me again on Twitter, like after about a week, because I'm probably gonna try to see it this week. We resubscribe to Disney Plus, I guess. All right, one more here. Anybody got any other questions? Sure.
What do you think of the Mega Man and Sonic crossover comic?
So he was asking, what are my thoughts about the Sonic and Mega Man crossover in RG? I thought it was great. I mean, like, a lot of people thought that it was like, oh, it was kind of unnecessary and convoluted, but if you really gotta think about it, it's like, what comic crossovers aren't unnecessary? If you really think about it, like, they really are. It's just more or less a way to draw people into the Mega Man comic as well, but which is unfortunate, because the Mega Man RG comic was excellent. It was excellent, and it ended at 50 issues, and I was just like, man, it's a shame. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Actually, let's see, I'm not sure. I'll go back and reread it.
You want one more from there?
One more from Twitch chat, and then we'll do the giveaways or the trivia.
Media Glitch asks, if you could remake any non-popular Sega Genesis game, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could remake, so Joel from Media Glitch, by the way, how you doing, Joel? Big ups to Media Glitch, he's awesome. He asked if I could take any Sega franchise to remake, right?
Non-popular Sega
Non-popular
Genesis
Sega.
game. Doesn't have to be a franchise.
Okay. A non-popular Genesis game. If I could take any, I think Ranchan knows my answer to this. So non-popular. There is a game on the Sega Genesis and the Mega Drive. It's a side-scrolling action-adventure game called El Viento. If you've never heard of this game, I highly suggest go look it up, go play this game. It is wild. So TLDR about it is basically about a Peruvian sorceress who has to save 1920s New York City from gangsters who were trying to resurrect an ancient demon. Al Capone is your main villain in this game, by the way. And Al Capone summons Cthulhu. I am not lying. All of this happens in this game, and it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. So imagine something like that with just, I'm thinking in something in the vein of like Shantae and the Seven Sirens, right? Something where like, it's one, like to get an awesome animation studio behind it, do this incredible intro, make it like 2.5D or something like that, where she uses her boomerangs and her different magical powers to basically save the world, defeat Hastur, and save New York and all this kind of stuff. Like, just something like that. That game was so well ahead of its time that if you think about something like that now, I think it'd be wild. I think it would be absolutely wild. So yeah, there's my answer. If you don't know what that game is, go look it up. Or you can check out the video again. I believe the video is actually there too.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Alright, cool. So let's do a real quick trivia. So let's do 3. So actually I got a real quick trivia on this. So I've got like 3 or 4 questions we can do this. Okay. This one, let's see. Alright. Name Sega's iconic racing game where you're out in a convertible and you're out to impress a lady friend.
Outrun!
That is correct. Come on up.
Oh.
Yeah, I got prizes. So, alright.
Oh, they're bringing us more.
That's for the next
You
one.
have to
Yeah.
You do it.
Is the whole capital? Absolutely.
Awesome. Alright, well, I got this for you. This is a D-pad controller for the Switch. So that actually works very well if you're using like for retro games and whatnot. So,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
no
Appreciate it.
problem. Thank you. Alright. Quick fire. Let me toss out another tougher one real quick. So, if you're familiar with GameStop, GameStop had an ad campaign that starred a white rabbit that was very foul-mouthed and he was on a quest for coins. He also had a mobile game. Do you know the name of that bunny? Does anybody here know that? No?
I know that.
I remember the rabbit. I don't remember the name.
Bet you don't remember the name. But think about it, it's slang for money. And he goes, hi! And I'm not going to say the word because I'll just get leaked. But yeah, he had a whole ad campaign. I think he's still around on like the gift cards in like certain countries too. But yeah, he was a little white bunny. Hold on.
Bug Bunny?
You got it! Yep, it was Buck the Bunny. Come on up. Well, guess what? This is going to bring you back even more. Actually, show them in the Twitch chat real quick, so that way they can see it. Yeah. It's like it's Buck the Bunny.
What is the song bringing this bunny back in Mascot?
I have no idea. He didn't last very long. Unfortunately, he really didn't.
So,
Yeah, I think for some reason he just didn't catch on in North America. So, and I guess overseas he did. Alright. Sonic 2 introduced Supersonic to the world. After collecting the Chaos Emeralds, how many rings do you need to turn into Supersonic? Oh,
This
you were
goes first. Yep.
Yes, you got it. Come on up. Now, it might not be a Sonic item, but it is invincibility, so.
I was gonna say
Sorry. Oh, I did not turn him on. Now he's on. Alright, last one. So, I've talked about how much I like giant monsters and whatnot. I mean, if y'all are fans of Godzilla, y'all might know this. So, as a Sega kid, unfortunately, I can never play any of the other Godzilla games because they were all on Nintendo consoles. However, Sega did put out one Godzilla game on the Sega Dreamcast. Does anybody know the name of that Godzilla game?
Godzilla King of Monsters.
Close. Close. You're on the right track. But here's a hint. The subtitle for this is also shared by a Sonic game. They have the same subtitle. And it came out on the Dreamcast.
Godzilla: The Dark Knight.
That would actually be kind of cool. He said Godzilla the Dark Knight.
Godzilla Unleashed.
That would be awesome too, Godzilla.
Godzilla Lost World.
No, not quite. Y'all are so close. So close. Not Sonic Mania, but the other one. The other one.
So
Godzilla
Twitch chat got it first.
Twitch
yeah.
chat got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
they got it one.
Godzilla 06.
That's a scary color.
Godzilla.
Okay. I got a secondary question for it. All right. It was Godzilla Generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Godzilla Generations was like close. Okay. All right. Then real quick then, can anybody name? Because one of y'all almost got it. The Super Famicom exclusive Godzilla game. It also shares a name with one of the film series as well. The Super Famicom exclusive Godzilla fighting game.
Godzilla King of Monsters.
There you go. Because it was also the subtitle of the game. Because it was also the subtitle of the second film.
Oh, sweet.
There you go. Alright, so I think we're good on time. Alright, perfect.
Yeah,
Alright, well,
All
so
right.
thank you for coming out. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/G2nextlevel, twitch.tv/G2nextlevel. Keep an eye on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, what's it called? But yes, I'm actually going to be looking into all those very soon. I should be at Retropalooza Arlington. I'm hoping I'm going to be there. But in any case, yeah. But in any case, I want to thank you all for coming out and being so supportive. 5 years strong. Here's to another 5 years. You're awesome and amazing. Thank you.
Woo!
See you. Oh, yes. And please stick around for my buddy Tales of Taylor.